We need to talk about Love, Death, and Robots, specifically that Jabaro episode, right? This is my first time ever watching Love, Death, and Robots. And I decided to watch this show because I just got done watching Black Mirror Season 7. And then I go on Reddit to find out what other anthology series are good. And everybody is saying, watch Love, Death, and Robots. Watch Love, Death, and Robots. So I'm like, I never watched this because I'm not into animation. But let me give it a shot. So I scrolled down all of the episodes because it's three seasons, so far of Love, Death, and Robots. And I choose Jabaro because I'm interested in the thumbnail and the description about a deaf knight just intrigues me for some reason. So I dig in. But before I go off on my tangent, let me introduce myself. My name is Brandy, and I realize that you could be on any channel in the world right now, but you're right here with me, and I really do appreciate that. So before we get into things, be sure to like this video and also subscribe to my channel if you do like watching TV show reviews and also movie reviews. Okay, so we're gonna go over a quick recap of what I just saw. Mind you, I just watched the show not even 10 minutes ago, so I'm still processing everything that I saw, and I still have some questions about the symbolisms, right? Like, for instance, were they trying to symbolize that Jabaro raped her? Like, I'm still a little bit confused about that. And like, was this about colonialism? I don't know, but let me go over a quick recap of what I think I saw. I did not see any reviews online. I didn't go on Twitter, Reddit, any of that yet, because I just wanted to come on here with my raw emotions, my raw feelings, and my raw review of this episode. And let's start there, actually. Let's start with the review. Me just being new to this and never watching like any animation series like this as an adult, I would rate this episode a 7 over 10. And I rated it a 7 over 10 because I left the episode feeling like I had like a strong sensory experience, especially the first few minutes of this episode. Like the sounds, the way it makes you feel. It makes you feel like, I never did drugs before, but it makes you feel like you're on drugs or you have an out-of-body experience or something. It's different from anything that you've ever seen before. And for those of you like me that never watched Love, Death, and Robots, it is an anthology series. So each episode is its own story. And I watched, this was season 3, the last episode, Jabaro, and it was only 17 minutes long. So I'm like, hey, what the hell do I have to lose here? But then after I watch it, I am kind of like, what the fuck did I just watch? But anyway, let's dig right into this recap, right? So we see Jabaro, the main character of this episode. They're going through a beautiful woods. Mind you, this does not look like an animated series. It's so beautifully done. It doesn't look like it's animated. It really looks like real life. But we see Jabaro and like a whole band of knights. They're going through the woods. Not exactly sure what their mission is. That's why I mentioned, like, was this a symbolism of colonialism? Were they going to take over the land? What were they going to do? They're actually knights in shining armor. They're riding in on horses. The horses have on jewelry. So it looks like it could be from back in like medieval times or something, right? So they're going into these woods and they stumble across this lake. I'm not sure if any of you noticed this, but it's actually like a heart-shaped lake that they decided to stop at, right? And Jabaro, we find out that he's deaf because, again, it's a very sensory experience at first. You're hearing the horses neigh. You're hearing like all of the knight's armor clink, clack, clacking. You're hearing all of these sounds, and it keeps zooming in on Jabaro's ear, and he can't hear anything. Like once they zoom in on him, the sound stops. So you know that he's deaf from that. Also, it mentions in the description that he's deaf as well. But nonetheless, we see Jabaro. He goes off a little bit on his own, and he digs his hand into the lake, and he comes across some gold, like a little piece of gold, and he scoops it up in his hand, and he looks around like he don't want to cut his homies in, right? He don't want to tell them that he got some gold. So he put it in his hand, and he kind of like tucked it away, right? But then we see under the water that it kind of erupted some. We see somebody's face under the water. So we know something is about to go down. It's about to pop off. But then we see the siren. The siren is a woman. She's adorned in this beautiful gold that's like just part of her skin. It's just part of her essence, right? And we see her emerge from the water, and she shrieks, she screams, and she lets out a heartbreaking scream. Actually, it really is. And what happens is all of the knights and all of the horses, they start emerging into the lake, and they start killing each other. Like pure chaos, pure mayhem erupts from her shrieking, right? But you will notice that Jabari is not affected at all by her shrieking, by her screaming, right? He's just unaffected. He's seeing all of his knight camaraderies just killing each other. He's seeing mayhem around him, and he doesn't even understand fully what's going on because he can't hear her screaming. Nonetheless, fast forward a few minutes, everybody's dead, right? But she did spare the horses a little bit. Some of the horses died just by default, but she did try to spare the horses, or maybe the horses were unaffected by her shrieking. I'm not sure about that yet. But after she kills all of the knights, apparently they fall to the bottom of the lake. We don't see them anymore, right? And we see that Jibaro, he still seems perplexed. He seems disoriented, as was I. I felt like I was very disoriented at the beginning of this episode. But we see him, he goes to actually like take a nap. Doesn't seem like he's too far from the lake. He takes a nap by the tree. And the siren, she seems so intrigued by him that he was not affected by her shrieking, by her screaming, that he did not die as an effect of her weapon. That's essentially her weapon to protect her land, right? So she goes to him while he's sleeping, and she's kind of checking him out, and she goes to lay by him. She puts her arm around him while he's sleeping, and she's still inspecting him, and then he wakes up. He runs to a nearby waterfall. She chases him, and then she proceeds to dance all over him. She's doing her winding, her dancing all over him, like she's trying to seduce him, and he's with it. He seems like he's into her, she's into him, and they just want to explore each other, right? So it seems like, okay, is this a budding love story? Like, what are we about to see here, right? But then they kiss, but her kiss somehow pierces his lips, and we see a lot of bleeding. He gets upset and he bejewels her. He takes off of all of her jewelry, which is essentially like her skin, because we see her bleeding. All of her jewelry, all of her head wrap, everything. Like, he really like strips her naked, and he steals her jewels. So it's literally like her knight in shining armor robbed her, right? Like, so he takes all her jewels, he puts it in a blanket that he has, and he just seems like he just goes back to his ruthless self, which leads me to the question, like, is that what they were originally there for? Were they originally there to inhabit the land and get the gold? Not sure of their intentions there when they first arrived at that lake. But nonetheless, he robs her, which I was actually saying too, like, does that mean, like, is that some form of SA? Is that some kind of symbolism that he like raped her? Because we see soon afterwards that she comes to, she wakes up in the lake. It's no surprise that she doesn't die when he throws her over the waterfall, right? Because she lives in the lakes. Like, she wouldn't drown, obviously, but she wakes up and we see that she's just checking herself out. She's just, you can tell that she's heartbroken, and she feels naked, and she feels very vulnerable, right? She doesn't feel like herself. She doesn't look like herself at all either. She looks like a completely different woman. She tries to find her voice. She's trying to find her body. She's essentially just rubbing her throat. And then she lets out a shriek. And this time it seems to impact Jibaro, because we see him holding his ears. But a little bit before this, we actually see him, he could hear the trees rustling. He could hear the wind blowing. He could hear the horses neighing. We see him coming to his senses. So another question is, did her kiss heal him? Or was he healed where he threw her over the waterfall? We see all of the water turn into this bloody red color, and he actually washes his face in the water. So my question is, did her kiss heal him, or did the water heal him? Not sure about that. But anyway, he could hear now. He's no longer a deaf knight. He hears her shrieking, and he comes into the water exactly the way we see at the beginning, how his knight friends got lured into the water, and they eventually die. So we see him doing his dance. He's trying to avoid it, but he ends up dead at the bottom of the lake with the rest of his comrades and with the people who came ahead of them. We just see a bunch of dead corpses at the bottom of the lake along with Jibaro. So after watching this episode, I was really unsure who to feel sympathetic towards. I mean, initially I felt sympathetic towards her because it was her land. But then I had to remember that she killed all of his friends, right? So he had every right to kind of complete the mission, steal the jewels, and try to get away. But that leads me to another question. Why didn't he ever try to get away from that lake? He always was still lurking nearby that lake. He never tried to run. He never tried to jump on one of the horses, because all of the horses were unalived. He could have jumped on one of the horses and tried to get away, but something was keeping him near that lake. But nonetheless, again, this is my first time watching Love, Death, and Robots. So I'm like, is this what I can expect? Like, in this episode, it was no talking at all, no dialogue, right? This is a completely silent episode, and it was very powerful. The cinematography was on point. All of the visuals were on point. Again, it did not feel like animation. But would I watch Love, Death, and Robots again? I guess that's a question that I have to ask myself. I probably would, only for the fact that the episodes seem really short. Like this one was only 17 minutes. I see a few others are only 15 minutes. So, hey, why the hell not, right? I might as well watch them. And it was like a beautifully haunting episode. Like now I can't wait to get on Reddit and see what everybody is saying about it, because I want to see what I'm actually missing about this episode. Like I feel like it's something I'm missing that's not making me rate this a 10 over 10, but my rating is a 7 over 10, so it's pretty good. And I love anthology series. If you haven't checked out my Black Mirror series, please check that out. But nonetheless, comment down below, what do you think? Do you think the symbolism that I mentioned was on point? Do you think they were symbolizing that he SA'd her by taking her jewels off? Did you feel sorry for her? Did you feel sorry for him? And again, my biggest question is, what were the knights there for? Was this a symbolism of colonialism? Were they there to inhabit the land? What was going on there at the beginning? But nonetheless, if you made it this far, please like the video. And again, subscribe to my channel if you do like watching movie reviews and also TV reviews. See you on the next video. Peace.